It often began in the dead of night. Not with a crash, but with a quiet, polite knock. The sound that froze the blood of Soviet citizens for decades. Outside, parked in a silent, snow-dusted street, would be the Black Volga, an icon of state terror. This was the arrival of the Komitet Gosударственной безопасности. The KGB. The Committee for State Security. To be taken was to disappear. You were brought to a place that existed outside of normal life. The most infamous, of course, was the Lubyanka in Moscow, a massive, foreboding building. That was ironically home to the secret police headquarters and a children's toy store on its ground floor. But such buildings existed in every major city. Once inside, the world shrank. It became a cell, a hallway, and a single, windowless room. The interrogation room. The goal of the KGB interrogation was not, as many assume, to find the truth. The state had already decided the truth. The goal was to get a confession. The entire system was designed to dismantle a human being, piece by piece, until they would sign anything just to make it stop. This process began not with violence, but with psychology. The first weapon was dislocation. You were stripped of your name, your watch, your belt, your shoelaces. You became a number. Time ceased to exist. Is it day? Is it night? You never knew. The only marker of time was the changing of the guards or the call to interrogation. The primary tool was known as the conveyor. It sounds industrious. It was monstrous. The prisoner was interrogated non-stop by a rotating team of investigators. One would question you for hours, screaming, accusing, demanding names. When he grew tired, he would leave, and a fresh, energetic interrogator would enter and begin the exact same process. This could go on for days. Not hours. Days. Sleep became a forbidden luxury. Back in your cell, a guard would watch you through the peephole. The moment your eyes closed, he would bang on the door, shout, or enter the cell and force you to stand. You were forced to exist in a twilight state of perpetual exhaustion, a fog where reality and nightmare blurred. In this fog, they planted the seeds of paranoia. The interrogator would offer you a cigarette. He would speak kindly. He would say, "We know you are not the ringleader. Just give us the others. Your friends. Your wife. They have already confessed. They have already implicated you. Why are you protecting people who have betrayed you?" It was a lie. Almost always. But how could you know? You were alone. Your mind, starved of sleep, began to fracture. You would hear screams from other cells, real or fabricated, it didn't matter. You were told your family had been arrested. Your children were being sent to a state orphanage, to be re-educated, to be taught to hate you as an enemy of the people. This was the true art of the KGB, to make the prisoner their own executioner. To break their spirit so completely that the confession felt like their own idea. But when psychology failed, or when time was short, the measures of physical influence were authorized. This was the euphemism for torture. The Soviets were masters of pain that left no marks. Why? Because the signed confession had to be voluntary. A man with a broken nose or missing teeth did not look like a willing collaborator in a show trial. They used phone books. A heavy directory placed on the stomach or chest, then struck with a hammer or a rubber truncheon. The force would rupture internal organs, break ribs, and cause unimaginable pain, but the book distributed the external blow, preventing bruises. They used stress positions. Forcing a prisoner to stand for days on end, until their legs swelled to bursting, or that a swallow, lastaka, forcing the prisoner to bend over and touch their toes, and holding that position for hours, until their spine felt like it was on fire. And then, there was the cold, the kartser, or cooler. A concrete box, often unheated, in the dead of the Russian winter. The prisoner would be stripped to their underwear and left for hours, or days. The cold is a relentless, invasive pain. It doesn't just hurt, it consumes your thoughts. Survival becomes the only instinct. A warm room and a cup of hot tea are offered in exchange for one small thing, a signature. There was also the heater, the opposite. A cell next to a boiler, where the heat was unbearable, suffocating, and water was withheld. These methods were systematic. They were refined over decades. They were not the acts of rogue, sadistic agents. They were the prescribed policy of a state. And eventually, almost everyone broke. The human mind is not built to withstand such a coordinated assault. The moment of surrender was a quiet one. A clean sheet of paper and a pen were placed on the table. The confession, already typed, detailed fantastical plots of espionage, sabotage, or anti-Soviet agitation. The prisoner would sign. They would sign, knowing it was a lie. They would sign, condemning themselves to a decade in the Gulag, or a bullet in the back of the head. This system of terror kept an empire in line for 70 years. It is not ancient history. It is the living memory of millions. And it serves as a permanent, chilling reminder of what happens when the state decides that the truth is more important than the individual, and that any means are justified to obtain it.